welcome to EdTechX Stories. My name is Benjamin Vedrenne-Cloquet. I'm CEO and co-founder of EdTechX Holdings and partner at Ibis Capital. EdTechX Stories is a short weekly interaction with CEOs, founders, investors, and innovators shaping and making the future of education and work. So welcome to EdTechX Stories, and I hope you enjoy our next session. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Vamsi, CEO and co-founder of Vedantu. I'm dialing in from Bangalore, India, and I lead this company called Vedantu, which is into online education. And today here, very excited to be here to talk about business and anything which will help entrepreneurs scale. So look forward to this.
Vamsi, welcome to EdTechX Stories. You're the co-founder and CEO of Vedantu. And before we talk about your business, let me start with a personal question. How did you end up in that position? Is there a defining someone or a defining moment in your life that inspired you to found and lead an education technology business?
Lovely to be here, Benjamin. And absolutely, yes. For me and my co-founders, it's been almost like now uh, more than a decade in education. It's almost been actually 15 years in this education space. And I started off actually as a teacher, and this teaching itself was not by by design or by choice. It just happened by accident, as you rightly were saying. I was invited to speak in a small school in a tier three location in India. It's a very, very small thing. And I was interacting with the kids. I realized that there is a huge gap in the awareness. And I just loved that interaction and how it was able to energize the kids. It was deeply energizing for me as well. And that I think was probably one of the first, turning points in my life, which actually resulted in, me spending more than a decade in education.
Okay, and so you define Vedantu as knowledge network, right? Veda means knowledge and Tantu network, right? If I got that right. Can you describe to us the platform and what makes it different than other online education platforms?
I've been a teacher and I've actually taught more than 10,000 kids before even starting Vedantu before. So there's a lot of experience in me and the founding team in like what does it really take to do good teaching? What are the elements? And we realized firsthand that it's not just content which matters. It's the whole service layer of interaction, the motivation, the connect between the teacher and the student, which really inspires the kid and then makes the learning journey more look seamless. So when we were thinking of designing Vedantu, the first design choice was that we just wouldn't want to make it a transactional content product. We want to bring soul into it. And the soul really is comes from the teacher, who is the teacher by choice. And that is why we constructed the whole thing around the teacher at the center and everything enabling him or her to deliver a great quality learning experience. So, in fact, I should tell you this, Benjamin, we were the first company in India way back in 2014 to start this concept of live tutoring. In fact, there was no one doing anything remotely closer to this, and it was very tough in a country like India because we did not have 4G at that time. It was 2G, and little bit 3G at that time. So it was very tough start, but it was a belief in us as teacher that this is what it really takes to create an experience online, which is better, if not equivalent to a offline teaching learning experience.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think kids like a topic and they love their teacher and they love topics through teachers. And it's the first time I hear, this strong focus on teachers. So that's how you make the digital experience better than the normal one is by focusing on teachers.
It's by focusing on first the right teacher, because that is the first and the most critical element. And then what we try to do is we try to weave everything around this experience so that the teacher, while teaching on a Vedantu platform, is 10x more effective and efficient than probably if the same teacher would have taught in an offline experience, right? So a lot of things we do. So we have what we call as Wave, which is like our own teaching learning platform, and in fact, we've been working on this for almost 5+ years. And I'm proud to say that we've been granted few US patents on this as well. So this Wave so the best thing about Wave is it's been designed for teaching a learning experience. Unlike Zoom or unlike Google Meet, which are more video conferencing solutions tweaked for teaching and learning, Wave was conceptualized for teaching and learning. So there are a lot of elements around Like, how does, a teacher teach, write? How do you engage a kid? There are almost 70 parameters we capture inside our live session around, is the student engaged? When does he require that intervention? And bunch of stuff I don't want to bore you with, but it is really tailor made for teaching a learning experience.
What's the one thing about online education that you think should be discussed more, or understood more? Because obviously, since the pandemic, everyone is talking about it. Any views on this?
Being a teacher myself, I think the first thing which comes to my heart is the learning outcomes, right? I think, yeah, because for a parent or a student, if you look at it, um, yeah, it does matter online, offline, but beyond a point, it doesn't really, right? What he or she is interested in is, like, is the child engaged, which is the learning experience, and does that lead to an outcome, right? Which is probably better than where the child was before he entered into a session. Doesn't matter, it's an offline or an online thing. Now, with all the COVID related, the tailwinds which online sector has got, obviously there's been a massive surge in the mindset and adoption as well. And it's great, right, for the industry, because I fundamentally believe that it's more efficient and an effective way to teach. If not all the skills, definitely the cognitive skills, right? But having said that, it's very early, and any educational brand, if you look at it around the world, is built on consistent deliverance of learning outcomes, right? And that is exactly what online education companies also need to focus on if they have to create a long lasting brand. So that's my thoughts.
And you talked about the pandemic, and we are hopefully in a post pandemic era. What's the next 10-year trajectory for Vedantu, and how do you think it will change learning from now on?
I think that's a fantabulous question, Benjamin. In fact, we contemplate on this quite a lot, and we get a lot of those questions also, right? Not just from uh, from 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 people around or investors, but actually even teachers, right? And my answer is this, right? We started Vedantu actually 3 years, 3 to 4 years before even pandemic and COVID. And I can tell you this, at least in a country like India, which is so vast and diverse, there is no way we can have teachers going into remote tier 3, tier 4 locations and teaching kids. There's absolutely no, it's not possible. So for a country like India, and I'm sure for many parts of the world, online education is the only way you can bridge that gap and enable quality teachers to create the access of quality teachers to go and deliver and bridge those learning outcomes. Now, although COVID and this has increased the adoption massively, in fact, as Vedantu, we grew almost 12x in the last 2 years, sort of, and it's like been crazy growth. But still, in India, we are less than 5% penetrated. And when I say we, I don't mean Vedantu. I mean all the online education players combined are less than 5% penetrated. And 95% of the market still isn't is there with us. So I'm not just hopeful, I'm actually, feel quite challenged in terms of like multiple innovations which we need to come out with to reduce the price point, to make it even more affordable, to look at how can we optimize for bandwidth delivery and devices. All these things is what it would take to further increase the penetration, and that is where I really see on the phase of where the next 5 years to 10 years, the stuff needs to go on, because it is very very early. It's way too early, and I think this 5% can easily become 25% in the next 5 years.
So huge growth opportunity for you. We're just at the beginning. That's what I get. Vamsi, are you a lifelong learner?
Oh, I mean, not just me, but this is a common theme which I really love to tell my students, right? Personally, being a teacher, and even Vedans, the employees of Vedantu. I think lifelong learning. Okay, so the thing we use internally is everyone is a teacher, everyone is a student. Like, I mean, we use it literally as a hashtag. Everyone is a teacher and everyone is a student, and it is true, like if you look at it, every day, consciously or subconsciously, you are learning something, right? And also consciously and subconsciously, you are teaching something. So for example, this right now, this session, I'm actually, like, in my mind, I'm thinking of it as a teaching session, wherein, because there's something I'm sharing, and that is nothing but teaching for me, right? So all of us are doing that, and hence we are everyone is a teacher and a student, and that is exactly like how you should not just think about it, but you should think about ways in which you can amplify that. That is personally my philosophy, and yeah, on a personal level itself, I do follow that. In fact, I have rigorous OKRs, so as to speak, in which actually make it a point that how much of my time on calendar time I'm spending on both learning as well as teaching.
Mhm. So what is the last thing you learned then?
Like whenever I'm like doing walking or like exercising these days, especially in COVID times, I have developed this habit of listening to audibles now, right? Which is in addition to the books. So the last one, which I just just completed, I think a weeks back, was the Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, and I absolutely loved it, right? It had a it's a very amazing perspective, and very relevant for us, and especially people in services business, right? So I would really recommend that. Apart from that, I've this year I've at least started to learn chess. I used to play it when I was like in grade like 5 or 6, then stopped, so I've just restarted it. So yeah, so much like I'm obviously like way down the ladder right now, but it's fun.
Very good. And to your point about everyone is a student, everyone is a teacher, I think that instead of, greeting ourselves saying, "How are you today?" we should say, "What are you learning today?" Right? I mean, it would be much more interesting. I like that a lot. Um, Vamsi, we are going now to the next session of the interview, which is the rapid fire question. So you're going to have to answer by A or B. Are you ready?
All right, this seems interesting. All right, Benjamin, ready?
Okay, ready. State school or private school?
Private school.
Degree or skills?
Skills.
Learn or play?
Learn.
Indian tech or US tech?
Indian tech.
Profit or impact?
Impact.
Learners or shareholders?
Oh, learners. Like
Okay. Teacher or technology?
teacher.
Okay.
Repeat.
Grit or grades?
Great.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. It's been very direct, very no hesitations. Most people hesitate a lot, but you have very clear thoughts. Vamsi, finally, who would you like to nominate to be part of our next EdTechX stories, and let us know why?
Absolutely, Benjamin. So I would really love to recommend and intro Akshay. Akshay is a good friend, and he runs a not-for-profit called Avanti Fellows. After graduating from Harvard, he actually, like, rather than taking a job, he actually plunged right into this, and it's a very inspiring story, creating a lot of impact. And definitely, I think there's some value you and viewers will get out of the interaction with him. So I'd love to nominate Akshay of Avanti.
Okay, well, Vamsi, thank you very much. This was Vamsi Krishna for EdTechX Stories. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Benjamin. Lovely to be here.